Yeah, I love taking down notes. I love journaling. No, I don't love journaling. I love taking down notes. It's a great way to write down things so that I will not forget them in the future. And it's also a great way to look back on the things that you write in the past and see how your thought process are. It keeps you on track on the things that you want to say or you want to do. Just like right now, I'm reading my notes. And if you're just like me, you don't have just one notebook. You have a stash. Through the years, I have this much notebook. Some of them, I have a lot of writings. I just didn't realize I have this much notebook until I tried to clean my room. I have like this with a lot of things inside. There are also notebooks are, I just write on the first page, but very few writings in the end. I realized through the years I keep on having a notebook. I always love taking notes. Just like anybody else who loves taking notes, there's a time where we realize that's really big, chunky notebook to put on your things. So we started taking notes on our phone. And if you're me, most of the things that we write down on our phone, it's just get lost when we change our phone, or when our phone get rebooted or reprogrammed, everything get lost. There's no back app in the past. Now there's Google and all those things get backed up, but still there's a very few amount of people who actually goes back to their notes in their phone and read them back. Well, at least in my case, I don't enjoy reading back on the notes on my phone. Usually I use my phone for social media and stuff. If I were you as well, you decided to have, okay, I want to have an iPad. Like, you can work on everything with an iPad. I figured if you have an iPad, you should have an Apple Pen, right? This one. And to write down notes. And yeah, I really enjoyed writing in an iPad. Like, I choose iPad specifically because of the smoothness of writing. It feels like a real experience of writing. When I bend my pen, it's thicker, those kind of things. I love it with an iPad. And I actually enjoy, taking notes. I have a lot of notes, in my iPad. But I also come to realize that, okay, though I enjoy writing on my iPad, there are some things that I don't like with an iPad that notebooks give satisfactions of. After years of taking down notes using my iPad, I came to a conclusion, okay, I want to go back to using pen and notebook as my main notes. So I had this notebook. Hence the reason for this vlog, to answer the question why I still use notebook to take notes. If you're into writing, if you're into pen and paper, I don't know, it's just me, but whenever I see like a really nice notebook with a really nice texture and a good pen, I felt like buying them even though I don't know where to use it. So sometimes I have like old notebooks that are unused, just stuck up somewhere and it's getting old. But I just love collecting notebooks. Yeah, there's a certain feeling of fulfillment and satisfaction when you write down on a piece of paper that an iPad, a glass, cannot give you. So that's the reason why I go back to notebook. But that's not all. With notebooks, you can write down for hours without any distractions, unlike an iPad. Sometimes when you're writing and then you forgot to turn off the notification, somebody will message you or send you a text and then it will notify your iPad and then you get lost with the thought process that you're having. It's really difficult to focus because you always felt like you're also on a big phone, and so you always have the tendency to, go to a website and search for something and then you get lost from your thought process. With notebooks, so all you need to do is just write things down, and on an iPad you can delete anything you write down and then write a new anyone, when your thoughts are full, you already erase a ton of ideas that could probably be helpful in the future. Unlike in a notebook, when you felt like, oh, this is wrong, you just skip the whole page and then write on another page. But in the future, when you go back onto those pages that you felt like, okay, I don't like this idea, and you look back on those pages, you felt like, why did I think this way? You have those kind of archive of old ideas that you have in the past because you did not actually erase them. And whenever you write something and you erase on a pen and on a paper, you created a unique way of transferring your thoughts and how your ideas collide with each other into your paper. I don't know if you get it, but that's how I felt like whenever I look back on my notes. Also for me, the biggest drawback of having an iPad is that you always need to charge them. And they sometimes heat up, like when you're writing for like an hour or 4 hours of writing, it gets warm and the pen gets exhausted and you need to wait for it to charge. And because of that waiting period, you get lost into your thoughts. Unlike in a pen and paper, it's just always there. You don't need to charge them. You always get worried if you can get your notes done if there's no electricity. But in your pen and paper, it's always there. It's always available. After years of writing down notes and journaling, I have 3 things that I would like to share to anyone who would like to also start taking notes using pen and paper. First is that you should have different notebooks for different purposes. Just like me, I have like a general notebook that I use for anything that I think of. It's like a think notebook. And I also have like a separate column where I write down church devotions, messages, and spiritual thoughts. I have a separate notebook for my YouTube channel, so everything about YouTube is just here. And currently, I'm learning a language, and so I have a notebook for learning that language. A small one, hopefully, I can bring when I travel. I also did that with my Bahasa class when I studied Indonesian, but I did the notes in my iPad, and I find it not useful at all because who brings an iPad when they travel? So that's actually one of the reasons why I felt like I should have used a notebook taking down notes, because it will be more helpful when you're actually out there without electricity and traveling. The second thing actually is the one I already mentioned, that you should have a general notebook. Just like me, I have a think or idea notebook that you can bring anywhere, very small. I chose this notebook specifically because it has a hard case where you can squeeze this in the bag and you're not gonna worry that the papers will be smushed or get crumpled. So find something like this, small enough that can put in a small bag that you can bring anywhere, and whatever ideas or thoughts you have in mind, you can just write them down. That's really helpful for me and it works. I always have a general notebook that I can just draw on, write something, whatever comes into my mind, so that it will not just get lost. And the last tip I would give you is to find a good pen. So I have a lot of different pens. I have more pens for sure, but I don't know where they are. Look for a pen that is smooth to write on. Probably it's just like me, you want a pen that you can keep on writing on for hours without your hands feeling like it's dragging itself. So I love a pen that does not make, like for example, when you write something, like you can write at the back and forth of the paper without worrying that the pen will seep the ink out to the at the back of the paper, because we want to save some paper. Those are the 3 advices that I have. And enjoy journaling. I think enjoy writing down notes. I love reading my notes in the past. I am glad that I was able to save all these notebooks. I know I have more probably hidden somewhere, but I never throw the notebooks. I always keep them safe somewhere. Sometimes actually I get ideas from my previous notes. Looking back on your notes gives you a throwback of your old self. Makes you realize how much improvements you have now and how you think now, how mature you are. It's really amazing. It's an amazing feeling to have. There's a different kind of personality. There are people who loves writing, there are people who don't, but I don't like writing as well. I'm not a writer, but I just love taking notes because it helps me focus, it helps me build up ideas in my mind. And so, yeah, I hope this video helps you, and good luck taking notes.